The terrifying science of anesthesia. You are not asleep. It is the most common medical miracle in the world, and also the most terrifying. You lie down on a cold table. A stranger puts a mask over your face. They tell you to count backwards from 10. 10, 9, 8, and then nothing. Hours later, you wake up in a different room, groggy and confused, with a scar on your body that wasn't there before. We casually call this going to sleep. Surgeons tell us we will just drift off. But mechanically and biologically, that is a lie. Under general anesthesia, you are not asleep. You are in a chemically induced, reversible coma. Your brain waves go silent. Your protective reflexes vanish. You cannot breathe on your own. If you were truly asleep, a knife cutting into your skin would wake you up instantly. But under anesthesia, your brain is disconnected from your body so profoundly that you could endure an amputation without a flicker of recognition. Today, on How It Really Works, we are going to explore the dark chemistry of the operating room. We will disassemble the cocktail of drugs that hijacks your nervous system. We will look at the terrifying phenomenon of anesthesia awareness, waking up paralyzed while the surgery is happening. And we will explain exactly why your habits with alcohol or cannabis might make this delicate balance collapse. This is not just a nap. This is the science of controlled death. To understand anesthesia, we first need to destroy the myth that it is a single on-off switch. It is actually a triad, a three-part chemical assault on your physiology. If doctors only gave you the drug that makes you unconscious, your body would still react to the pain. Your heart rate would spike, your muscles would spasm, and the surgeon couldn't work. So, modern anesthesia requires three distinct components: hypnosis, to knock you out, analgesia, to stop the pain processing, and paralysis, to stop you from moving. Let's start with the knockout punch. Usually, this is a white, milky liquid called propofol. Doctors call it milk of amnesia. When injected, propofol travels to your brain and targets the GABA receptors. GABA is the brain's main off switch. It is a neurotransmitter that inhibits electrical signals. Propofol forces these GABA channels to stay open, flooding your brain with negative charge. It effectively shuts down the communication lines between the thinking part of your brain, the cortex, and the wakefulness center, the thalamus. The lights don't just dim, the power cord is pulled. But here is the scary part. We still don't fully understand why this erases consciousness. We know how it works chemically, but the exact mechanism of how it steals your soul for 3 hours is still one of the greatest mysteries in neuroscience. Once you are unconscious, they introduce the paralytic. Drugs like rocuronium. These are chemical cousins of curare, the poison used on Amazonian blow darts. They block the signals from your nerves to your muscles. Your diaphragm stops moving. You stop breathing. This is why there is always a machine breathing for you, or a tube down your throat. You are chemically turned into a statue. Finally, the analgesics, usually powerful opioids like fentanyl, are pumped in to stop your nervous system from going into shock due to the trauma of surgery. The anesthesiologist is the pilot of this chemical flight. They are constantly monitoring your heart rate, blood pressure, and brain waves, making micro-adjustments to keep you suspended in that thin gray line between life and death. If they give too much, you never wake up. If they give too little, well, that brings us to our scenarios. Let's simulate 3 terrifyingly real scenarios to understand the mechanics of what can go wrong and right in the OR. Scenario 1. The fighting phase, induction chaos. You are lying on the table. The drugs hit your system. Common sense says you should just close your eyes. But biologically, your brain might panic before it shuts down. This is called the excitement stage. As the higher, logical parts of your brain, the cortex, turn off first, the primitive, animalistic parts remain active for a few seconds longer. Without the logical brain to control them, these primitive centers can go haywire. Patients in this stage sometimes thrash around, try to pull out their IVs, or even try to punch the doctors, all while technically unconscious. Their eyes might remain open, staring wildly, but seeing nothing. This is why nurses often strap your arms down before you go under. It isn't a prison. It's a safety measure against your own primitive brainstem reacting to the chemical invasion. The goal of the anesthesiologist is to rush you through this chaos phase as fast as possible to reach the stable surgical plane. Scenario 2. The nightmare of anesthesia awareness. This is the scenario that keeps people awake at night. Imagine the surgery has started. The paralytic drug is working perfectly. You cannot move a finger. You cannot open your eyes. You cannot speak. But the propofol, the drug meant to keep you unconscious, is not working perfectly. Maybe the dose was too low. Maybe your metabolism burned it off too fast. You wake up inside your own body. You can hear the surgeons talking about their weekend plans. You can feel the cold steel of the retractor pulling your ribs apart. But because of the paralytic, you cannot signal for help. You are trapped in a silent, screaming prison. This is called anesthesia awareness. It happens in roughly 1 out of every 19,000 surgeries. It is rare, but statistically, it happens every single day somewhere in the world. To prevent this, modern machines monitor a BIS index, a number from 0 to 100 derived from your brain waves. 100 is wide awake. 0 is no brain activity. The doctor aims to keep you between 40 and 60. If that number suddenly spikes to 80, they know you are waking up, even if you look like a statue, and they will instantly push more gas or propofol to shove you back down into the void. Scenario 3. The smokers/dringers paradox. You are a regular cannabis user, or you drink 3 glasses of wine every night. You don't tell your anesthesiologist because you are embarrassed or you think it doesn't matter. This is a critical mechanical error. Your liver produces enzymes to break down toxins like alcohol and THC. If you use these substances regularly, your liver becomes a superprocessor. It has built extra factories, enzyme induction, to destroy foreign chemicals rapidly. When the doctor injects the standard dose of anesthetic, your supercharged liver attacks it like it attacks your nightly wine. It metabolizes the drug 2 or 3 times faster than a normal person. This means you might wake up in the middle of the surgery, scenario 2. Or, your airway might become hyperreactive. Smokers have irritated, twitchy airways. When the breathing tube touches your vocal cords, instead of sliding in, your throat might spasm shut, a laryngospasm. This seals your lungs off. No air can get in. The anesthesiologist has seconds to break the spasm before your heart stops from lack of oxygen. This is why the pre-surgery questionnaire is not a moral test. It is a calibration sheet for your survival. So, how do we use this knowledge to ensure we survive the surgery and wake up with our brains intact? Here is your utility protocol. These are the 3 non-negotiable actions you must take before any procedure. Action 1. The full disclosure rule. Do not lie to the anesthesiologist. Ever. If you smoke weed, tell them. If you drink heavily, tell them. If you take herbal supplements like St. John's wort or garlic pills, tell them. These can cause bleeding or mess with drug metabolism. They are not the police. They are pilots calculating the fuel load for your flight. If you give them bad data, they cannot calculate the correct dose, and you risk waking up or not waking up at all. Action 2. The redhead adjustment. It sounds like a myth, but it is genetic science. People with natural red hair often have a mutation on the MC1R gene. This gene affects pain sensitivity and anesthetic requirements. Studies show redheads may require up to 20% more anesthesia to stay under. If you are a redhead or carry the gene, mention it. It helps the doctor prepare a heavier dose to ensure you stay in the void. Action 3. The 24-hour fast. When they say no food or water after midnight, they mean it. Remember, anesthesia paralyzes your muscles. That includes the sphincter muscle at the top of your stomach that keeps food down. If your stomach is full when you are paralyzed, the food can flow back up your esophagus and pour into your lungs. This is called aspiration pneumonia. The acid dissolves your delicate lung tissue. It is often fatal. One sip of water isn't worth dying for. Keep your stomach empty. Anesthesia is a triumph of modern engineering. It allows us to perform miracles, to repair hearts and remove tumors without suffering. But it is a high-wire act. It is a suspended state of toxicity that requires precise calibration. By understanding the mechanics of the coma you are entering, and by being honest about your own biology, you help the pilot land the plane safely. You will wake up. You will heal. And the void will just be a blink in time.